Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is Milan Desai from Easy Data Munch, welcoming all of you for our webinar series. This webinar is specifically targeted towards hospitality industry, restaurant, hotel chains, and various other hospitality companies out there. We are going to talk about how to measure performance across your organization. At store level, location level, or department level, or even at organization people level. So, idea is we will provide you in-depth understanding of how data gathered within the organization can be used to improve the performance of people, and also look at key metrics that you measure from performance driver perspective. Uh, I would encourage you guys to ask me any questions if you have any, and I would try to answer them. We will have a short presentation to begin with, and then we will look at some of the applications that we have. Easy Data Munch, just to give a background, Easy Data Munch is a BI analytics solutions company. We have been in existence for 5 years and working with many hospitality, retail, consumer-oriented companies, and our focus is to drive data discovery process and analysis process, which can help enterprise improve their performance, be it revenue growth, be it cost, be it operational performance, or employee performance. We have worked with several hospitality companies, as we mentioned, and we will draw on the experiences that we received from them, and also on our experience of working with data sets and large data sets. So some of the key questions that all of us you may have in your organization is around where do you find your customers, how do you cross-sell your to your existing customer, if you have loyalty programs, and how do you improve the spend by your loyalty customer base, and how you can make them visit more frequently to your restaurants and stores and locations, how we can improve the ticket price and things like that. We are looking at customer service, various KPIs around kitchen to table, customer footfall analysis, location analysis, which includes geospatial analysis, your menu mix, basically how your menu items are performing and which items, and so on and so forth. Just to give a brief background around our BI capabilities, Easy Data Munch has been instrumental in providing various BI strategy and roadmaps to our customers. We do BI assessments and alignment to your organization strategy, looking forward 3 to 5 years, and see how you can utilize data in your organization today. We also provide various solutions on BI. We have one of the largest portfolio of pre-built BI applications that can be leveraged by our customers, and we virtually work on multiple technology stack to make sure that your existing investments are well supported and utilized. The platforms that we support are Click, Power BI from Microsoft, SAS, our analytics, Spark, and big data platforms as well. Again, coming back to the key things that we talk about from Easy Data Munch perspective is we look at predefined templates of dashboards, reports, key measures, KPIs, and we have these ready-to-go applications which are basically 80% of what you will look for, and then we can have your power users either modify these applications to their likings and what they want to see and how they want to see the data, or then we can help you with some of those customizations. Very important aspect of our application is we don't need any programming or development skills. We are looking at ordinary business users within your organization to analyze information. So again, we are not looking at any data scientist skills, which is being one of the key things that we wanted to introduce, that our applications are pretty easy to use, and that pretty much can drive the self-service related business analysis. What are the key tenets of our solution? Our solutions are repeatable. So if you are looking at analyzing data across one location or multiple locations or multiple business units or companies or franchise operations you may have, you can basically use the same application framework across your organization. We also provide cloud as an option, so if you want to deploy and use cloud versus your own infrastructure, you also can do that. Most of our applications are highly configurable, so you can set your KPIs and benchmarks. So, for example, if you have food cost or unit payroll or tips or manager payroll related questions or net sales or daily average sales related questions, you can set those benchmarks and configure them easily based on how you want to measure them, and you can keep changing those measures as you progress in your business. All our applications are very insightful, visually powerful, since we are using some of the latest and greatest visualization tools like Click and Power BI. And we also built into predictive and analytics features, so using our statistical engine, whereby you can predict the footfall or you can predict how the tickets are customers are going to walk in, or your marketing cost or digital media cost and campaign ROIs and loyalty customer base. So there's a lot that you can leverage using those features within our application portfolio. So let's jump on to the demo itself quickly. So this is our easy data munch platform. So as a user, when you log in, based on your access rights that you have within our platform, you will be able to see the applications that are assigned or that are basically allowed for access. I have logged in as, let's say, controller or an operational head within our hospitality company. And when I log in within the performance management area, I see different application or dashboards that I'm allowed access to. So let's start with the daily analysis, daily performance analysis application. This application basically is getting data on a daily basis during the day. So every time a sale is happening within your store, we are collecting this data directly from your POS system and other systems at a frequency of 10 to 15 minutes. Every 10 to 15 minutes, we are adding that data into our application, refreshing the data in the application. So it is always current. You're looking at data that is accumulated throughout the day. So at the end of the day or the cutoff time that you determine, you can see what happened during the day. Now you can also set this application to run or refresh once a day if required, and so that you will see the performance as of yesterday. So it really depends on the need of your organization and how you want to see the performance. We scorecards here, so let's start with the first one. As you can see, most of our applications come with predefined ways in which you will analyze information within a restaurant. So you're looking at sales, so net sales, net profit sales, DA sales. Somebody join?
No, it's me. I was logged off.
Sure. And you're looking at operating costs related to food cost, your payroll cost. Food cost is a percentage of your net sales, operating cost, number of issues you may have. We're looking at people-related KPIs, so how many people that you have in the sales side, how many servers you have, how many people in the kitchen, how much overtime that you're accumulating. We're looking at shortages, so if you have inventory or food shortages or gas shortages or other overages that or similar cost aspects that you're looking at. You can look at information and compare it against previous month or previous period. You can look at previous year, same period. You can look at it by day or by week or by period. So there's a lot of that information that you can analyze. You can also have your organization hierarchy structure in terms of how and which people are managing the store. So you can look at either by companies. When I say company, you can look at by your own subsidiaries or franchise operations. So if you have a lot of franchise companies who are operating your stores, then you can look at by each franchise as well. Look at by different area or people or division or district, even at state or a zip code level. So there is a lot of that information that you can derive from this. Uh, let's move on to the next tab. The goal performance tab is going to take a little bit of time when we have a lot of data. So before the tab comes in, the goal performance tab is one of the tabs where we provide you a geospatial view of the locations and some of the KPIs and how they fare against those KPIs. So yeah, based on the KPI benchmarks that you've decided, you will see a specific location with a different coloring. So you red color or a green color or a brown or a yellow or an orange, and each of those colors, as you can see here, they represent various benchmarks that you may have. Now, if you can quickly zoom in, you can see how your stores are performing across different states and different locations. So this is a very good way. So this is by sales, and similarly, if you zoom in out your profit percentage, you can look at information by profit. So the different KPIs. This is just one example here of a KPI that you have. But basically, you're looking. So these are the sales driver that you have within a very restaurant industry per se. We can also look at operating drivers that we just mentioned about on the food cost side, or the payroll cost, or the operating cost and other related operating drivers. So we are analyzing that information here. We can also go to the trend analysis. So let's quickly go to trend analysis side. Now, this is sometimes you see this kind of information when the data is coming in and an application is getting refreshed. So you will basically see that this is the way it will probably pause in for 5 seconds, update all the data with the new data that has come in, and application is refreshing the data. And then once the updating is done, application is going to come back again, like you see at the back. So now you have the latest data that may have just come in last minute, and now we are able to analyze the same operating. So you have payroll, food cost, your operating margins, and various other costs that you're looking at. Again, you can analyze data by day, by weekday. So you're looking at what happens by weekday versus weekends, or by week of the year. So if your seasonality, and especially around holiday times, you can look at the seasonality itself. So as you're looking at different days here. So you're looking at your weekend here in between. So you can say that a lot of restaurant chains that we work with, they have their weekday may start on Sunday night or a Monday morning, or we have seen some restaurants where they're actually reporting middle of the week, like Wednesday or Thursdays, when they start their week for reporting perspective. So it really depends upon how are you measuring and how are you reporting your performance. Now, this is a trend analysis. We are looking at different. So based on the trends, you're looking at rolling average of various KPIs. So you can select which KPIs you're looking at, and it also shows you which stores or which locations and how they're performing. And now this is very important here because we're looking at performance measurements. So we're looking at what was the rank in the current period versus what was the rank in last 3 periods or last year and last week. And so you are looking at consistently whether the store is performing, whether it is improving, and whether things are getting better or worse. I think so that's the important part here. And you're looking at the current period's DA versus the rolling 12 weeks of DA. So you're looking at, again, data from what's happening right now and what has really happened on a rolling basis. So again, performance-wise, you are looking at different scenario. And as like most of the restaurant chains, you're always going to see your daily average jump over the weekend and come back down during the weekdays. So that's a very typical of most of the restaurant chains. Once we move away from, we also have an executive scorecard. This is where the performance, so you are looking at an executive, and let's say we select an executive here. We are going to select one SVP, and let's look at Bruce's performance. So when we're looking at Bruce's performance on net sales side, let's look at net sales, and I'm going to look at period to date. That gives a little bit more. So now if you look at here, what's Bruce's performance on net sales size versus DA, and how it compares every day within the given period. Now you can select different periods. If you select period 4, it's going to change that performance, of period 5, or you can look at the current most period. You can also look at this in a grid format, so you're looking at all the different KPIs that you are measuring for Bruce in a grid format. So that allows you to again look at everything like in a waterfall way. So this is your net sales, and then what happened to your food cost, how much component was operating cost, how much was a payroll, how much were other issues, and then basically how much net that you made at the end of the day. So this gives you a very good visual aspect of what is happening with Bruce. Now, once you select the person, you can also look at his entire hierarchy. So these are the 3 people reporting into Bruce. I want to look at Bradford, and now when I select Bradford, I'm looking at his performance within his team. Now, once you look at the people performance, we can also go to the store report card, which basically allows you to look at a specific individual store and how they are performing now. Understand that this data is coming on a daily basis. This is like a daily number. Now, a lot of stores do not report their number on daily basis. The numbers they report on daily basis are more of a not confirmed numbers. So these numbers may get confirmed when you do a weekly report or an end of the period report. So it really depends again on the process that you set. We have worked with restaurant chains where the daily data that they get is not a firm data set, but it is good enough for that week. But at the end of the week, they readjust their data and numbers. So you also get a weekly data set, which is again more of, I would say, more close to the reality of what happened. And then you also get end of the period number or end of the month number, which is you report in your financial statements. So it again goes back to the same thing in terms of how important, how you aggregate data, how the data is coming in within your enterprise, and how you are measuring the performance. This is more like a snapshot today, what's happening, what has happened for the last week. This is based on a daily data that you collect from your stores and locations every day. So let's look at now a different application. This is one application that we showed you. Let's look at another application in the performance management for restaurants. Let's go to an executive dashboard. I think so. This is one dashboard that allows the C-level within any organization to look at the performance. So now this dashboard is more of an aggregated data, and as you can see, we have a lot of historical data that we aggregated. So we have almost 16 years worth of data. So you can, the scalability from a system perspective, you can go as far as back as you want to go. It really depends upon what you want to bring in and what kind of analysis that you want to drive. So we are looking at system-wide sales. We are looking at system-wide daily average. So we are looking at daily average, where you're comparing the daily average performance against all your different area managers or different areas or markets that you may have. If you want to drill down further in a very specific area, then you can drill down into different years for that specific person. Whatever selection that you're making, you're looking at that area here. So you're looking at more area. You're looking at the performance for more over a period of time on a different scale. We also provide different ways in which you can choose. You can choose top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20 performers. So based on, again, how you are choosing that information, you can select and say, I want to look at only top 10, and system will automatically show you top 10. So there are different ways in which you can slice and dice this information. You can look at comparative analysis. Again, this is another way you're looking at the performance by percentage values. You're looking at profitability by area people. Again, when you drill down to specific area, then you can look at it by period. So this shows you that this person's performance has been going down over several years. So obviously you want to see why Fritz area is not doing as good as it used to do on the profitability side. So now if you want to jump to profit performance for him, you can see that he was doing pretty well as we saw in the trend, but now his cost, food costs has started going significantly higher. And that's one of the reasons why he is not doing that well. So now you start correlating the information that you are seeing from one KPI to different KPI. And his unit payroll cost is still within the expected benchmarks. As you can see, they are all green. So you are good, but we looked at the food cost. We are looking at the manager payroll. Again, that cost has been going up and down, and also operating cost, which can be one of the big factors. As you can see, all of his operating cost has been in red, and that's one of the big concerns that you may have. So now if you want to drill down further into what happened in 2015 or 2014, you drill down on that. Now you're looking at different individual months or periods. Now you can, based on how you define your month or period, you can either follow a calendar month, or you can follow specific calendar or dates from one day to another, or you can have just weeks. So now, since this is an example where we are looking at 4 week as a period, there are 13 periods, of course, in a year, and you're looking at this performance from that perspective. Now, once you look at this specific performance, now you want to look at one of the stores that this person manages. Then when you look at the store, you will see the list of all the stores that this person manages, and whatever those stores are not managed by this area are actually grayed out. So you see them, but they are not really applicable. So let's select one of the stores here. Let's say 150. And now you see the performance of this store, and we are looking at all the different KPIs in terms of what is the net sales change, what is the food cost, what is the overall margin that you have, what's your unit payroll, what's your operating cost, what's your daily average. So as you can see, the daily average also over a period of time is actually changing. Now you're looking at a trailing 13 period kind of analysis. You can also look at year, period, and week analysis. And that can give you, again, a very good understanding of how things have been moving between different periods. Now we can also go up and look at how things have been moving based on different years. So based on what you select, how you drill down, you see the bottom section of these piece will keep telling you what's going on. So whatever, let's say you select year 15, now we are looking at all the different periods. And I want to see what happened in period 5 here on food costs, and I can drill down further and look at different weeks in terms of what happened during. So this is the way you can keep filtering down, drilling down until you figure out that these are the actual problem areas, and then go back and see what has been done to correct some of the performance issues that you've seen so far. So let's move on to another application from the comparative analysis. I think that's one of the things that we have seen. Restaurants use it on a very regular basis. This analysis basically allows you to drive performance within your teams because they can compare their performance against different people, different individuals. You're looking at different outliers, so that's one of the things that you're looking at. You're looking at different KPIs. So you're looking at KPIs. These are the different KPIs that you can measure. You're looking at DA, sales related KPIs by shifts. If you're measuring by shift, you're looking at payroll. You're looking at hours, overtime, people quota, compliance from quality perspective, staff quality perspective, and so on and so forth. So again, there's a lot of that information that you can look at here. We are looking at, you can also looking at sales analysis. So again, you can break that sales analysis by DA, by net sales, by shift, by change in percentage last year, current year, versus the rolling 13 period. So there's a lot of analysis that you can drive here in terms of performance, and then you can drill down into, as you can see, we are looking at a different area, so you can drill down to a specific area if you want to, and that way you can see the performance of the person and the people reporting under him. Then let's look at an outlier application here. So this is one of the most critical application or analytics that you can drive. Now we are showing you different applications here, but they are actually a one application or parts of one application. So you can basically link all of these applications as one and combine them and look at this. We are just showing you differently here to give you a perspective of how you can look at information in different ways and analyze the performance and do comparative analysis, and that will drive your decision making process and performance within the organization. So this is a scatter view where we are, again, the greens and the yellows and the reds and the reference line that you see. These are the benchmarks typically that is set within the system, and based on what you set in this analytics application, and this is a highly easily configurable things. You can set it up in an Excel spreadsheet, and you can change it as many times as you want. So it's nothing that is difficult for you to look at it. So you can look at by people, you can look at by company, you can look at by by year to date, and different other ways. So there are different things, the different ways you can look at this information. When you jump to the comparative analysis, this is one of the most widely used ways in which you look at the performance of the person. So now if you look at from let's say your EVP perspective, now each of these EVPs may manage a lot of areas and stores. So now you're looking at different EVP names here, and then what is happening to their stores, right? So how many are in red, how many are green, how many are in yellow. And let's say, for example, Rob Abney and Scott Fowler, these are the two guys who are big guys and have a lot of reds and yellows. So let's see what is happening with Scott. So I just click on Scott, and then I will drill down further into what's happening with Scott on the food cost. So you have different KPIs here that you can select: food cost, net sales change. So these are all pre-built, pre-calculated KPIs. So when we map your data, when we get the data from you, we can actually map it to all these KPIs. We can add more KPIs as required. We have a list of almost 125 KPIs for restaurants, which are pretty exhaustive, and looks at your operational data, financial data, your HR data, payroll data, store data, people quality data, health hazards, inspection. And we can look at a lot of those data points and provide you the analysis that you're looking for. So now we drill down into it. Shows you the benchmarks here, at the right corner here, that what is the benchmark, what is the calculation logic that is being used. And as I said, that you can change this logic in a simple spreadsheet if you want, or we can bring in from your existing data sets. And basically the reports and the application will automatically change based on what you do. Now we are seeing here that Carl Smith is one of the biggest culprit within Scott Fowler's organization. So let's look at what is happening with Carl Smith. So you click on Carl Smith, and now you're drilled down into his organization. Now if you look at here, you look at Singley is one of the biggest culprit here because he has 18 dreads. So you're going to click on him and then go into what's happening with his organization. The moment you go to that level, now these are all the stores or the location that he manages. So now since you are going at a store level, you may want to look at not just one specific KPI, but we want to look at 3 different KPIs to see which store is performing bad. So I'm looking at food cost, I'm looking at net sales, and I want to look at DA, for example. Now this will give me which store is not really doing well. So if you look at 1147, the DA is one of the lowest. And then we are looking at 1147 here somewhere. Has a pretty good net sales change, a 20% change. So it's actually a good store. Let's look at 7, which has the highest food cost issue, and the 7 is also somewhere here. So it doesn't. The DA is pretty high, significantly higher. So it's somewhere in the middle pack. So now I want to look at 7 as my unit, for example, and I'm going to drill down into that store related information. So I've selected unit number 7. I'm looking at all its key metrics here. This is the way you can do your performance drill down. This is the way you can look at high to low, low to high. You can look at by period. So there are multiple ways you can. Again, you're looking at information. You're looking at T13. You're looking at year to date. idea is the more information that you have, the more comparative analysis you do, the better you will be uh, from measuring and improving the performance. Everybody can see their performance here. So when Scott logs in or when Pingley logs in, he's not able to see only just his numbers but his peers' numbers. So he knows where he stands, and that is what effectively drives the performance. That shows you the number of ways in which the opportunities or the areas where they can improve upon, and then you have multiple KPIs that allows you to do that. You can also look at this information in graphical way, so it's easy to look at outliers. So let me clear all selections here, and I'm looking by EVP, so you can look at by EVP or AVP. So this gives you a very a good way of looking at your top to bottom analysis. Now this can be food cost, this can be DA, it can be anything in terms of how things are moving. You can also look at it by table views. If you want to look at by table, this can bring you all your KPIs together, and you can see now who is in red and who is in green, and you can look at all these different KPIs. You can look at by year or by period or by week, so you can change, or you can say custom filters, and you can select a specific period. For example, I can select 2015 and I want to look at period 5, and that's it, and I want to see that analysis. So that brings us to what we wanted to show you. There are a couple of other areas. This is our portal, so you can see that there are a lot many applications. Basically, the way it works is we create different users, and each user has access to different folder structure here. And based on which folder and which application they will access, when they log in, they will only see that specific folder. So, for example, let me select another user and let me come back and I'll show you what it means. So let's say I'm going to log in as Carolyn here. So when I log in as Carolyn, as you can see, I only have access to these 3 folders. I don't have access to any other folder here. So these are the applications that I have access to. Now, Document Center is nothing but you want to upload all your data. So there are different data formats, different file formats that you can upload. So I want to create a new folder, or I want to add a new file. I can add a new text file, or I can add a new Excel file or a CSV file. I can, if it is a database application, we can add any database files. So this is a document center area that we provide within our system, where you can manage your data files. We also have an option of not using this document folder structure, where we can directly connect to the data sources that you have within your enterprise. So you can do whichever works for the best for you. We also have a lot of other applications on marketing ROI and loyalty analytics, which can be useful to, like Facebook listening posts. So you're looking at what customers are talking about you, what kind of feedback or review comments that you may have. Basically talks about customers who are looking at whether they appreciate your food, your restaurant, the quality of service that you provide, what is the typical overall repurchase intention, whether they think that it's a value for money, your restaurant provides value for money, and if you are looking at any loyalty programs and how your loyalty programs are doing. So there is a lot more analysis that we do. It's not just your POS data or your other data sets, financial data sets, or budget or forecast data sets, or HR data sets. We are also looking at data sets from social media like Facebook, Twitter, any blogs or comments or anything that where customers are leaving feedback for you. You can also compare performances of your competition. So looking at fast food chain, or if you're into quick dining, or if you're into fine dining. It really depends upon who you compare and how you compare against. We can also bring in a lot of third-party data sets like in restaurant industry. So we can come look at the industry and your performance. So there are a lot of those things that we can do, the whole platform. And it really depends upon how you want to utilize this information from your perspective. So that concludes what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys have you enjoyed what we've shown, and hopefully This will help you to understand and probably think over and see how you want to analyze data within your enterprise and how you can drive performance within your enterprise. We have about 15 minutes left, so I would open up the floor for any questions now. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take them and answer.
Sure. My name is Patrick. I have two questions. One
Sure,
is
Patrick.
what kind of analysis do you provide for loyalty program?
So loyalty program, we provide analysis around your loyalty data sets. So we compare your loyalty program data sets and versus other customers and basically show you what kind of spend your loyalty customers are making versus your other customers, what is a typical average ticket value of a loyalty customer versus an average customer that you see, how often they step into your restaurant and how often they spend. If you are running any promotions on your loyalty customers, like by sending them coupons or them sending them emails around their birthdays or anniversaries, how many times they really utilize that coupon and walk into your restaurant. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that we can analyze with your loyalty programs.
Okay. And I have one more question. That's how do I compare my performance versus where do I stand with others?
So
Comparative analysis. Sorry, go ahead.
So when you say others, I mean that how you're looking at one is comparison internally between for your people, and also how do you compare against your peers in the industry. So if you are in a fast food chain, let's say you're a fast food chain, you want to compare against Mac, or you want to compare against Arby's, or you want to compare against KFC or Taco Bell. What we typically do is there are third-party data providers are out there, as you know, and we can, or if you are already subscribing, because most of the restaurant chains do, they subscribe to those data sets, and we can do that as well, and then provide in that insight. So, for example, we say a food cost as an industry benchmark within fast food chain is around 28%. Now, are you at 28% or more? We can give you that analysis. So that's one way to look at it. We also run chains, so it really has to fit. Like if you're a fine dining restaurant, we cannot really compare you to a fast food chain, right? Because your KPIs and what you do, how you do things are going to be very different. Though you still have similar KPIs, but your kitchen to table ratio, your cost of food will be way different. Your payroll costs are going to be, from benchmark perspective, are going to be different from a fast food chain. So then we can look at if you are matching, or your data or your business is mapping with one of our existing customers or few of our existing customers, we can compare within our data set. How do you compare or compete against them? But without, and it's an anonymized data, so we are not disclosing your restaurant chain or their restaurant chain. We just say that, Mr. A, this is how you compare against all of the other people that we have within our portfolio. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Patrick. Anybody else? Any more questions?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Malone. My name is John.
Hey, John.
Yeah, are you able to hear me? Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear, John. Go ahead.
Okay. So there was I must say it was a very nice webinar which we got over here. But I want to know about one thing in details, if you can, reviews which you mentioned, because you would agree that in today's date, many of the people, the young people, and the normal business class or the economic class, or the normal people, they always go ahead, view the reviews, and they make their tasting preferences according to the reviews as well. So if you can tell me about that, how you could analyze the social media data or any customer feedback and customer reviews, and how we can do analysis from my restaurant to any of the competitors' restaurants.
Sure. So what we have, and I do have an example to show you, but it is not for a restaurant industry. But let me quickly show an example. We So I mentioned about listening post to you just now. I think so. We mentioned about in the webinar. So these are the listening posts where we are comparing your data versus your competition data. So for example, you say that okay, these are the 5 competitors that we would like to compare against. So that's one. And also we would like to know what our customers are talking about, right? So we are looking at posts and comments. How many posts typically people leave on Facebook or Twitter for you guys? What is a typical comment? How many likes you are getting? Are people talking about with what times of the day they typically come? Now, one of the biggest thing that we also have in our application or platform is a sentiment analysis. So that's exactly what you're mentioning is whether people like us. If they like us, what do they like? Do they like the quality of the food? Do they like the service? Or do they like the menu that we choices that we provide? Is it people think that this is a safe or a family oriented restaurant or it is a fine dining restaurant? So whatever it is in that you are trying to provide, what about it? So this is where we are doing a sentiment analysis in terms of whether people talking about negative about your restaurant or positive or they're neutral, and what they're talking about not just about you but your competition as well.
Okay.
So this is the way we can analyze and you can actually know what's going on. You can also look at not only the sentiment but also look at top 5 contributors and what messages that they're leaving. And you can analyze these messages directly within our application.
Yes, that's nice.
So excellent question. I think so. We are seeing more and more use of social media by restaurant chains, especially looking at the customer, their marketing programs or loyalty programs. We also have an application that analyzes your email campaigns. So looking at the success of your email or media campaigns like via YouTube channel or so it really depends upon because we are seeing a lot of chains like Red Lobsters or Olive Garden or Arby's or McDonald's. You see a lot of those chains utilizing web media video channel to promote and we can bring in all that content from YouTube from various channels. So we have various social media connectors. Let me quickly so when we have to bring the data, we have all these connectors. As you can see, we can bring data from any of these places for you.
Okay. So, Milan, just a quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
So, as you said that you have these connectors to pull out data from all the different social sites and different portals. So, do you also pull out data from different websites of restaurants? And because people do also put their reviews and put their feedback over in the websites of the restaurants and hotels. So do you pull out those data from there as well?
Yeah, we can. So we can pull out reviews from Yelp. We can pull out Zynga. We can pull out reviews from various websites, so like Google reviews and all that. The idea is the connectors that we have can basically go and search anything that is mentioned about your restaurant anywhere on the web.
Okay.
Any more questions? These were very good questions. This is, I think, so we are probably thinking in the right direction, John, because as I said, we are seeing a more and more digital marketing and advertisement channel usage by restaurants throughout, and they are reducing their traditional media spend or like TVs and radios. So we see that this is one of the critical areas that restaurants are going to look at from data analysis perspective, and also whether it's really giving you the ROI. Are you really getting customers in the door when you do all this marketing?
Yes.
5 minutes left, so I just want to make sure that we have enough time to cover.
Hey, hi Milan, this is Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Uh, I'm good, How are you?
Good.
Good. I went through the whole webinar and I like what you have to offer when it comes to the marketing area of the restaurants, and I agree with you that more and more restaurants are, going towards this particular direction in terms of digital. But my question is more aligned towards the operational aspect of a restaurant. All right. So of late, I thought about predictive analysis, can do this and that. All right. And most of the blogs, what I am curious to know is how predictive analysis can help me align the resources that I have. I mean, resources like, food, labor, liquor, or any other resources with the customers, basically, customers footfall in my restaurant, or maybe say in, different locations of my restaurant. How predictive analysis can help me in that particular area.
Sure. So as you can see, I just pulled up, and that's again an excellent question. And we are seeing a lot more use of predictive analytics, even though it may not be there right now, but we are starting to see a lot of interest and a lot of use that can be brought in, especially around exactly the same thing that you mentioned around the people, what should I do with my staffing, scheduling, restaurant location, and all that. So if you look at here, this is an application that we have which analyzes your customer footfall by hour, right? And you're looking at weekday versus weekend. You're looking at typically when your customers walk in. So what we are doing is not only just we are looking at, because when you look at a POS data, the POS data is actually when customer is paying. They really do not calculate when the customer walked in. You get my point?
Precisely.
So what we have done is basically based on what kind of restaurant you are, you can set that I want to look at T minus 20, T minus 30, T minus 45. What is an average time you expect your customer to spend in your restaurant, right? So we look, so basically ticket minus 20 is what we look at, or ticket minus 30, and we take that as a customer arrival time.
All right.
And that's how you're analyzing this by hour, right? And you can also look at by different shifts. So not only just by hours, we also look at this by different shifts. So you are getting now a good perspective of what happens in your first shift, what happens in your third shift, how many to customers you have, because it's not just about, again, it comes back to what kind of restaurant you are, whether you're fine dining or fast food. But basically you're looking at, if I'm a fast food chain, how many to-go customers come in, how many regular customers come in, do I see a lot of because you may have a lot of dining customers, maybe less for you during the shift 3 or the late night hour, but you can have a lot of to-go customers.
Okay.
So that means you need to predict now based on what historically has happened, and it is not just one location. Now you have to look at also your locations, right? So we provide you geospatial view of your locations and time zone analysis, which can be combined with your stores and your shifts, right? And then based on that, you can predict what kind of workforce you need to have at each location and what time.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Like some of the analysis that we try to do is what is your ticket band, like what is your average ticket spend when by your customers, right? So that also tells you how typically this is going to go for, and then you can look at by ticket hour. So you can see that typically when I look at 13 hour, which is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, your average ticket number is much higher.
Okay.
So there are a lot of different things that we analyze as a restaurant perspective, as I said, which can be utilized by a restaurant in different things.
Exactly. As I said, I mean, this is one of the areas that, most of the restaurants, they face issues, especially ours too, because we don't have such kind of analytics on board. And mostly it's all about operations because we need to align various resources. So I believe that this can be one of the good solutions for it if we start, looking more into this area. And another thing you just mentioned, all right, while giving me an example, that you mentioned about the POS data. Okay, so I would like to know how do you manage POS data, and do you like blend other data sources if the POS data is not enough? Do you factor in other data sources as well?
We do. So POS data typically, as I said, it is a point of sale data. It's your ticket data. Now, every restaurant chain or restaurant tries to implement POS for their specific needs. So sometimes you get a lot of information from POS based on how you have configured that system, or sometimes you get very little information, right? You may just get ticket data. You may not even get the menu items that were ordered by the customer. So it really depends upon what kind of data you have, but yeah, you can always add to that data set data like HR data, your shift data, your scheduling data, your menu items, different pricing, different data. Because let's say you have a location in New York and you have a location in Atlanta, the pricing on the menu is going to be different, though it's the same item.
Mm-hmm.
So in New York, you're selling that item at $2, whereas in Atlanta, you're selling at $1.50. But you're selling exactly the same item. So you can't just say that New York is doing better because New York's costs are also going to be different.
Okay.
So so you have to take into account those aspects, and that information need not be stored in your POS, because POS is just going to give us $2 for that item. But we need to make out that this $2 actually is $1.50 Atlanta standard.
Okay.
And then compare. Otherwise, you are not comparing apples to apples.
Obviously, we need to compare different rates and whatever the variation.
Yeah, the point what I'm saying is this data may not be stored in your POS. This data is lying somewhere else within other application that you have, which is pricing management or all that kind of stuff. So we definitely will use those data points combining with POS data to give you a holistic picture.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, there is no limit on the data sources that you can blend in this application. So if you can look at here, you can keep on adding more and more data sources. And so this is a data manager, and I can keep on adding more and more data within my application as I want to add.
Okay. Right. This is nice.
So this is a POS data. As you can see, then we are adding your location data, which can also include your longitude and latitude information, where we can plot it on a graph. And then there are different KPIs, and we can add more data. So I just need to connect. We can add, let's say, for example, weather data, or we can add any other data points that you want to bring in to just see what happens if it rains, right? You want to predict how many people may walk in if it rains.
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of analysis can be driven along with your POS data.
Okay. All right. Okay, Milan, I know that we are short on time, but
yeah, 3 minutes past due, so yeah, I want to take cognizance of everybody's time. But thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. We will put up this video on our website, and also we'll send it out as an email link to people who want to see this. And again, appreciate for your time, and hopefully we are able to provide you some interesting insights and thoughts that you can carry back and see whether you want how you do it. And if you need any help, do let us know, and we'll be happy to assist you in that. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead, and thank you once again.